hello, everybody, and welcome to another Spooktober episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD. Who's here with me?
It's Michelle.
It's Michelle, guys. Michelle,
Yay.
tell all these people what we mean when we say Spooktober.
Spooktober is when we get super spooky, and every year you and I watch a horror movie every day, usually not
Every
the same
day.
one.
Right.
And to prepare, because I'm sure you and I will still be watching a horror movie every day, we also wanted to release a podcast episode every day.
Right.
So we recorded these in advance so that our fans could also enjoy a horror movie every day.
Don't fool yourself, kids. We don't love you enough to actually record a new podcast every day in the month of October.
But I do hate myself enough to do that.
You're not wrong. So there's our obligatory reminding you for the 87th time that this is not happening just today. It's August as we're recording this as we speak.
Now they know how long it took us to get through this many movies.
Took a long time,
It did.
you guys.
We're busy people.
Anyway, so the movie we're talking about today, Michelle, what's it called?
It is called Porno.
Oh, that's right. We watched Porno today.
We watched Porno.
We watched Porno.
Hilarious.
Here's the weird thing about Porno, you guys. That's a fun sentence to get to say. Porno was a Shudder exclusive, and it was still an available Shudder exclusive when we put together our plan for Spooktober way back in April of this year. And then round about the end of July, I believe, it just completely disappeared off of Shudder and is no longer available through that service. And there's a possibility it might come back at some time. But it was already on our list, and we said, you know what? To heck with it. We're going to talk about it anyway. So I hope you got to see it, and I hope maybe it's come back by now for you to be able to see it. If not, well, it was a Shudder exclusive for a good long time, and if you didn't watch it, that's on you, right?
I was available to rent for streaming from my local library.
Oh,
and that I find very funny.
You got Porno from the library.
I did, and I just want to know how many other people have tried to do that and then be disappointed that it was a horror movie.
And it's like, this isn't Porno at all. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yes, it is. It says so right there on the title cover.
Exactly.
Nobody calls it a title cover. It's just a cover or like maybe a title page. I don't know what's happening. So Porno.
We're great.
Porno is the movie we're talking about today, guys. I would love to read for you, as we do, the description of the film from the Shudder website, but as I said, it's actually a Shudder exclusive that's no longer available on Shudder. That's how Shudder exclusive it is. So I am going to just read the description of Porno from the IMDb website. I'm sure it's very similar to what we would have found there, and it goes like this. When 5 teen employees at a local movie theater in a small Christian town discover a mysterious old film hidden in the basement, they unleash an alluring succubus who gives them a sex education, ... written in blood. A former Shudder exclusive. Michelle. Tell us what you think about Porno. Spoiler-free, please.
Spoiler-free thoughts on Porno. I gotta say, normally title doesn't factor in very much to my impression of a movie, but I will get into it a lot more when we get into the spoiler section, but I feel like they really did themselves a disservice by having this name, because I think it is pretty tepid. There are obviously some scenes in here that are very cringy, especially if you are someone with a penis and or testicles. I'm sure a lot of that was hard to watch. But aside from that, it is pretty much just like it's an okay movie.
There's not a lot of porno in the movie Porno.
Yeah, there's not even a lot.
Not even a lot of implied porno.
No.
And obviously, there's not going to be any literal porno in Porno.
I wish.
I guess. Well, maybe. I guess if you're a person who, when you say porno, you're talking hardcore and softcore stuff. There's a couple of moments here, but there's not a lot of porno in Porno. Is what we're trying to say.
There's not. And for that reason, I will give it a 2.5 skulls out of 5. I wish that it had gone edgier, and I have a lot of praise for this movie too, but I am waiting for the spoiler section to talk
Yeah,
about that.
I agree. It's I don't dislike the movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. It's not one that I'm going to be rushing to watch again. But I do enjoy it. I thought it was a fun movie and worth checking out. I do agree that I feel like the title doesn't really fit the film. I think it's a title that they thought, oh, we're gonna really grab some people's attention by just calling our movie Porno, and it doesn't quite. It creates expectations that it doesn't live up to, and it still
Exactly.
manages to be a good movie, but it does sort of hinder itself a little bit there. I
Yep.
am going to go ahead and give this one a 3 skull out of 5 rating. I did.
Sounds good.
There is some splatter and some gore in this that's real rough.
Hmm.
In an incredibly comedic way, but still, real rough. And we'll talk about that in the spoilers section. So I gave it three
Yep.
skulls. You said how many skulls, Michelle?
2.5, which gives it an average 2.75
2.75,
skulls.
right over the middle point of 2.5.
Yep.
Just slightly better than average, and I think that's a fair assessment of Porno, and that's no
I
bad
agree.
thing. All
I
right,
agree.
guys, if you want to watch this movie,
If you want to watch porno, pause to watch porno.
just to summarize, it's a fun sort of good time throwback splatter sex comedy horror type film. If you're into that sort of thing, definitely check it out. And yeah, go
It's
do
worth
that.
watching. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so go do that now if you don't want any spoilers. Okay, there was your chance. So Michelle,
Yeah.
tear into it. Let us know what was good, what was bad, what did you enjoy about Porno, what did you not enjoy about Porno.
You just love saying that. So I have a
Porno,
lot
porno,
of
porno,
different
porno, porno.
things. For one, is I am very passionate about comedy
About
horror
porno?
and how. Yeah, I'm very passionate about porno. But comedy horror, I think, is one of those things that's really, really hard to nail.
Yeah,
Hard porno.
agreed.
And I feel like so many movies don't do it, and this one does start to really get its footing about halfway through, but it starts so absurd. The actual video they watch is disappointing, and it's not horrific. It is more comedic, but it's not really funny. The homeless man is kind of like a raving lunatic and also more absurd than comedic. I think that you have to, if you're going to do horror comedy, you have to be good at both elements at the same time. And this, it does comedy so well, and for the first half it does not do horror very well, and then the second half it does get more horrific, but then you lose some of that comedy. I just don't think it really struck a good balance between the two, but there were a lot of elements that I liked. I just didn't like it as a comedy horror film. It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think to me, I agree to an extent that I do feel like this movie really does kind of find its footing around about halfway through and towards the end when it finally kind of finalizes what it's really about
Agreed.
and gets into its theme. Obviously there's some themes of repressed homosexuality and attempted conversion going on here, and learning to accept yourself and that sort of thing. Some themes of kind of oppressive Christianity going on in here. But yeah, the first it feels like somebody really wanted to write a story about that. And then they decided, well, probably the easiest way we'll be able to get a movie made is to make a horror movie. And so they kind of tried to shoehorn that in with some other things that just didn't really, it's not that they're bad. It doesn't feel like it hits the same tone. I thought definitely the secret film that they find down in the basement is more like it's very obviously more just like a film of a satanic ritual or some kind of cult ritual, right? That happens to
Hmm.
have naked women and I believe some sexual content in it. But it's clearly not like it's more psychedelic than pornographic.
Yep. Yep.
In that sense, it very much feels like a 1960s psychedelic satanic witchcraft heavy like hard rock music kind of thing. Yeah,
Yep.
and so yeah, and once it does find its footing, it's pretty good. So far as just being a horror movie, we gotta talk, of course, about some of the splatter in this movie. And I want to talk specifically about something that's in this film and we've been seeing a whole lot more of lately. Is it just me, or do you think we are seeing a significant amount of more on-screen penis trauma than we've seen in horror movies maybe ever before?
I have to say that yes, we are, but I can say that we also have not seen very many on-screen penises, and compared to the amount of naked women.
Oh,
that there are
I'm
in
not
movies,
complaining.
no, I know you're not complaining. I'm saying that I love it, even if it
Right.
comes with penis trauma, because for the longest time it was like, okay, why is everybody naked who's a woman, and men we can only see butts? It like
Yeah, for sure.
it never was even, and now the fact that we are seeing penises, I get excited. I'm like, hell yeah, show me those balls, especially this one has a shaved dick. I think it's flaccid if I remember. Love it. Love it. And then it's like, oh, well, now they're doing bad things to it. But I guess that makes up for all the decades where it was just, are you okay?
I would just like to point out that what just happened here on this episode is Michelle said out loud that she enjoys flaccid shaved penis.
I mean, in a movie
Flaccid
when it's suddenly
shaved
there,
penis.
it's like alarming. It's like they're just watching, and then it's like,
It's just
what?
like, oh,
full,
look,
it's a full
there's a
thing.
dick.
Love it.
There's just
I
like
love
a
it.
dick and balls just out of
I
nowhere.
think all movies need just a random dick and balls, very close up shot.
Especially
just
if
in the
they're
middle.
then mutilated in some horrific way, because
I
oh
mean, that's a
man, this
bonus.
poor fella.
Yeah,
There are whew.
that's right when the movie actually picks up, and I don't know if it's that scene that really triggers like everything coming together.
It
but
really
that
does kind of
moment
kick
is
everything
really
into,
where it,
into
yeah.
action. It really does. Yeah,
Mhm.
that
The jokes get better, the acting gets better, which the acting is very good. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining about the acting, but it feels like the characters are very solid by that point. Everything amps up right at that moment, and then it becomes a very pretty good horror movie.
Yeah.
It just I do have to talk about the before we go back to the penis trauma. I did want to talk about the name just a little bit. So
for sure.
pause on the penis trauma, but I just wanted to say that when I was talking about how it does itself a disservice, like you said, it does set an expectation
Right.
that you are going into this and probably going to see something a little bit edgier and more extreme. And it's not that, and I think that's okay. But the problem is the word porno is one of those words that gets shadow banned on social media. So you're also limiting your own marketing campaign where people
Right.
can't talk about it. And I think that they did themselves a disservice. They probably got people to watch it because of the name, which I was one of them when it was first put on Shudder. And this is my second
Oh,
time
yeah.
watching it. But
Absolutely.
it just,
I
think
was
they did
immediately
themselves
like,
a
oh,
disservice.
there's a movie called Porno in the horror movie section, and it's got like
Mhm.
devils and skulls and fire and shit. Yeah, I'm definitely watching this.
Yeah, so
Of
it
course
worked
I
if you
am.
were already on Shudder and you knew about it, but I think they limited the audience that they could have reached. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
It also
I think that's
like
disappointing.
yeah, it also like I said, it definitely created more expectations, and I wasn't so much bothered by the fact that it didn't quite like the movie that they watch. Again, it's not like a porno movie really at all. It happens to have some sexual activity, but that's not the point of the whole thing.
It's a college art film.
Yeah,
This was their final assignment.
Yeah,
and then
it's a
locked
real
it in the
pretentious college art film. That's a great way
Yes.
to put it.
Yep. It's
You
definitely
know,
a college art film.
I thought it was an interesting little story. I thought it was interesting that they chose to set this in like I want to say 1992.
Yes, that
The
is
films at the
correct.
theater these kids work at, the films that were playing that weekend were Encino Man and A
Yep.
League of Their Own, both of which I did see in the theater at that time, so this totally could have been me.
Yep.
I liked the whole general idea of like, oh, this movie theater, because like there was a period, like especially in the 60s and 70s, where like a lot of really overt movies were being released to the public, and there was a lot of stuff happening that was sort of, there was the whole Satanic Panic era, and so it kind of overlaps those sorts of things in the period of time going on here. It's got that early 90s, still sort of homophobic, unaccepting kind of vibe, and just that idea of crossing a satanic cult with a movie theater, I thought was kind of interesting and unique in the idea. I've seen several different films that present the idea of a cursed film, so to speak, and I thought this one found a really unique and fun way to play off that idea. I thought the splatter was good. I thought the jokes were good, even when they were in the early part of the movie. They're still good jokes. They just don't seem quite so focused. But I wouldn't say this is a movie that you're okay to just stumble upon. This should be on your list. It just doesn't need to necessarily be up at the top, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
I do also remember that pretty much the most sexual thing that happens in this whole movie is the opening scene, and then it's just kind of tepid from there on out. That is like full like people fucking while they're watching them through the window, and I'm like, oh, we're ready for a trip, and then it's like that is the most sex you will see for the rest of the movie. I do have to say that I like that this was a movie about a succubus. There are not very many of those, and I think that's better than the possession angle, which they could have gone with and would have been like a more obvious choice. I do like the unique supernatural element that they were trying to bring to it. I did like the repressed Christian overlying story. I thought that was pretty cool.
And the repressing Christian force turning out to be some kind of real creep. Really, when it all comes together there with the camera in the bathroom and all of that stuff. Yeah, it definitely does start to lean towards some more heavy things as you get into it, but never gets so deep and so serious that it becomes kind of like this. It's never a movie that makes you feel like you need a shower, even though it's about some rough things, I think, again, is what I'm trying to say there. The straight edge projectionist who's like I control all my urges, man. I got willpower and strength and commitment to all my. I got commitment to. You're gonna make me break my edge here for the first time in however many years. Oh, that guy was so great. Just this
Heavy Metal Jeff.
Yes, Heavy Metal Jeff, the projectionist, he's
so good. He steals the show.
Yeah, he's this guy who he's that stereotypical dude who assumes that everybody else in the theater respects him and takes him more seriously than they really do, and none of them really actually give a shit about Heavy Metal Jeff until bad things happen to Heavy Metal Jeff's penis.
And then he's very funny about it, so you like him even more.
It's I think this is one that you definitely, when you get a chance, is worth taking a look. It should have some priority position on your list, but not, not run out right now and see it, which is not going to be possible if you're a Shudder fan. But I had a good time with Porno. It was totally worth paying $6 on its own to have to watch it, or to be able to watch it again for this episode.
And it was totally worth the librarian giving me a weird look if she ever sees what my rental history is. And she's like, oh, it's another one of those. But no, I went. I knew what the movie was about.
Michelle rented a movie.
I wasn't just a 12-year-old.
She rented a movie at the library, and it's just called Porno. Like, that's how the library shelves it. Like, they're not going to censor anything. They're going to go ahead and distribute your content to the appropriate audience. But it's just called Porno because they don't want to risk anything about what might get slid in on that title. Slid in. You see what I did there?
That's awful. That's a good note to end on.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode. Go check out Porno if you got some time and you're looking for a fun horror comedy splatterfest to watch. We got more movies coming up. Michelle, what are we talking about on the next episode that's not a new episode?
It is going to be The Dark and the Wicked. See, I was ready this time. With practice, I've gotten used to you asking me that question.
Is it The Dark and the Wicked? All right, cool.
It is The Dark and the Wicked.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for tuning in for another Spooktober. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.